Hey, Harry, hello, my man.
Hey, what's going on, Ryan?
You probably can't see, but the first cut of podcasting is just over here, just being a menace. So, I think it's in honor of your shirt. So that's
Hmm.
which I
Oh
did
yeah,
look.
the Meowdy. That was a fun one. I really, really like that shirt.
Yeah, I did look to see if I could find it at Maya. It was already gone. I was sad. It was very funny.
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot product right now. That Meowdy shirt. People are online like trying to Google it. For anyone looking out there, I don't know if I can put products out there, but Kenji Meowdy, you can Google it,
Yeah.
and see if you can grab one. But yeah, it's difficult to get your hands on.
No, yeah, I feel like we can definitely do plugs. But firstly, how are you? Obviously, this has been a big couple of weeks. I guess
Mhm.
watching your episodes arc, 5 episode arc play out. How are you feeling? How are you processing what we just witnessed?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. I think obviously I'm in the very privileged position of having the experiences before.
Yeah,
So it's a little bit different. Like I know what it feels like to get to the end, and I have that to sort of look back on fondly. So losing early for me is not the end of the world. Like obviously, I mean, it sucks. Like,
yeah,
it sucks. You don't want to lose. You want to like win everything and be competitive and smash the strategic game and you want all of that for yourself, but at the end of the day, I'm processing it pretty well. I feel pretty good about everything, and the love that I've got back as well, and the reaction has been really nice. So that has actually been a big positive. I was worried how people were going to view that.
yeah,
Um, but I think that it was a nice finish. Like people kind of saw how desperate it was, and how it just sort of came out at the end that I was just trying everything basically. So it has been good just to get that love back as well. That's been really
yeah.
nice.
That's so nice. And it's so interesting as well because I've seen that, experienced that, not only from, I guess, the fan community of Survivor fans out there, but also like I've seen a whole bunch of ex players specifically post about Harry and post about like your experience out
Yeah,
there, which is
yeah,
really cool to see. And you're in a unique spot. And you talk about those past experiences. I was actually reflecting on that yesterday. And I was like, it's so interesting because for you, you played season 4, you played season 5, and from memory, doing the podcast. Like I'm pretty sure that like season 5 was filmed partway through the airing of season 4. I could be
yeah.
incorrect on that.
I didn't even
So
watch it back. Yeah,
yeah. So like for you, you kind of had this like first bubble of Survivor where you played 2 games and you played them almost back to back. And then you've had this 5, 6 year period into this season. What was that like, I guess, like reflecting on that first experience and then heading into this next experience? And I guess like, do you feel like is it that shifted who you were and how you are as a person into this game?
yeah. Look, that's a very long story because you're talking about like years and years and years. It could be its
Tell me
own
every.
podcast. All right, rapid fire. I mean, I feel like I am more mature. Like you kind of go through the whole process and then you are processing for the first couple of months, but then as you see other seasons and you see what kind of comes out of it, people
Yeah,
message you and say like, like you inspired me to play hard because, people like you and Luke and David and a whole lot of others have played hard but still got to the end. Whereas like before that, it was more the sort of meta of just hide behind other people and kind of
yeah,
play under the radar. And it's not how I wanted to play. I just don't want to play that way if I can help it. But it is interesting that the meta sort of shifted and you've got people doing different things, playing the way they want to play. And I like that of like just different mindsets and people
yeah,
wanting to be aggressive and that sort of thing. You see people like George as well, just sort of being aggressive and getting the whole way to the end. So just the fact that you can play the way that you want to play now is a thing I really like. If you're talking about other things as well, I mean, there's been so many stories across the years. I mean,
yeah,
I've gotten phone calls for a lot of things and kind of been in different mindsets and different places. I had a call for Heroes vs Villains last minute because they had to sort of drop out and
yeah,
pretty much just wasn't in the right place to play.
yeah,
Um, and so, long story short, that didn't happen. Um, it was also a couple of years of getting calls up and not actually being the number one option.
Yeah.
Um, so I was a backup for Luke a couple of times where he was actually on things. The international season, which was actually like I was really, really wanting to be on that,
Yeah.
and didn't eventuate. And so to get the call this time, and get it from a very high up producer, and it felt a little bit different. So it was a really good experience this time getting the calls and it finally happening after sort of a couple of
Yeah.
years of wondering if I'm going to be playing again.
And that's the hard part, right? Is that you play Survivor and you played. I've tried to really define this on the podcast, that first era of Survivor 1 through 5. And
Hmm.
it's interesting. You talk about the gameplay, the evolution we have seen in this the subsequent period up until this season with George and the other big players really kind of honing what you were doing
Hmm.
as a rascal and other things like to play big, to be big, and to come through and to play. But it's interesting to finally get that opportunity and to be the number one pick as well. And like you said, on those seasons where you've got these big male archetypes, it's tricky to know where you sit, where you stand, but to feel like, hey, I'm being seen as the pick for this season to be the person who's going to come on. Heading into that season, then like you're being picked. What are your expectations around who else might be picked in a returnee sense for this season?
Yeah, I mean that was weird. Because sort of not sure whether things are going to change or whether production is sort of 100% transparent about things. But yeah, I pretty much got told, there'll be a couple of returnees, and in my mind, I was like thinking about numbers and that sort of thing and kind of doing the
Yeah,
maths. And it was a weird one because in my head I was like, oh well, if there's six of us then it starts to get a bit iffy because if there's six at merge, then we're half the tribe. And so
yeah,
they will more directly want to target us. But with four, I was like, well, technically we don't have a majority as returnees until final seven. So it's like, are we really that much of a threat numerically?
yeah.
Not really. So I actually did like the number four. I thought that actually gave us a reasonable chance. But then, you rock up day one, day two, and people do not think that.
Yeah, cool,
People,
cool.
people
Huh.
do not think those numbers, and you're like, oh, okay, like there's a bit of a threat here already. Wasn't actually expecting that. I was expecting people to want the shields more.
Yeah. And when you're saying those people, who are those people in your mind? Is that Lottie? Who else is there that was like, no, I don't want to be with the returnees?
Um, Look, I think there was like a grace period where people were sussing things out for about 24 hours, and then
Yeah.
pretty much day two, Cam, Asha, and Lottie really weren't very keen on me. Lottie, we had a complex relationship, and I think Paula's already talked to you about, me, Paula, Lottie, Simon. Um, it was the sort of situation where I think we did want to be a group, but every single one of us had one person that we kind of didn't necessarily want in that. But it
Yeah.
was, yeah, definitely Cam, Usher, and Lottie were just not very keen. And I think you'll find for most of the other players, they were either 50-50 on the idea or they're like, yeah, we'll keep Harry and he'll be a great first merge boot, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting when you're like kept as the potential person. It's just a bit of the should. But that is also like a strategy. And I felt like
Mm.
towards the end of your run, Lottie kind of came around to that point. And
Yeah.
it seemed as if she had been like convinced by you or by logic that, hey, this is a person that can actually really be beneficial to my placement in the game.
Yeah, more logic, really. I mean, she's really, really smart, and I clocked that like day three. I think they actually showed a thing in the hammock of like Paula had got us together to have a proper chat. And I was just like, wow, she is really, really smart, like beyond
Yeah.
where she should be. Yeah, it's just logic, really. I mean, she'd already started to push out there as being a person in charge of votes and that sort of thing, at least in the perception of some people. So if she's sitting middle upper in the tribe and then you start getting rid of shields, then she's going to be in danger later. I mean, I only left at like day 11, so
Yeah.
you're not really giving yourself that buffer if you're already taking out too many of the people above you in the that sort of like pecking order or whatever it is. So I think she knew that. When I had that chat with her, it's sort of like you don't really even care anymore. You can just be transparent about every single thing on the table. You're like, yeah, you could vote me out, like, or you could have a look at this value. She was really good at having those chats where you can just be like, all right, this is where all the pieces sit. Um, and these are your options. I think this is a good option for you. And kind of just talking as if it's her game, not mine.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, willing to listen to logic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's coming through pretty clearly on the TV. I think I agree with you. I think she's a really strong player, and I'm keen to
Yeah.
see where that kind of unfolds for her as well. But you mentioned a little bit of Paula chat I did yesterday as well, and it's interesting in
Mm.
her conversation with me. We were talking a little bit about that vote specifically and your headset around it, and she was pretty adamant that you thought that you were the person who's going to be going at that
Yeah.
moment. So,
Man,
like, what
it was
is
bad.
yeah.
Bad communication as well. I need to point out, like I'm actually a slower player and I was getting the pacing wrong. Fiji, we just had more game time.
Yeah.
And it took a while for me to get used to it. We just had way more. People slept a bit more on our tribe, and so I wasn't getting the time at night. You don't want to wake people up as well.
No, don't wake people up. Don't wake people up.
So it was just less game time. It was more frantic when it actually came down to it. So doing some of those easier votes sort of came into that. Like you just
Yeah.
need to be able to push something a bit easier because there's just no time. My argument with Paula, I mean, I'm good at perceiving the game. Like that's my strength is I can see all the pieces. I'm not the best influencer. Like that's
Yeah.
why I want those people with me. But I was having a meltdown because I was just getting iced out. Like people would just not give you anything. And then we just obviously had that really bad miscommunication and argument where I was just like, there is something wrong. Like there is something very wrong.
Yeah.
Like everything is wrong. I did think it was either me or Simon because the timing felt right to sort of push that. We'd basically gone through what was it, like 9 days. They've gone through the grace period of learning how to live.
Yeah.
So you don't need us for that anymore.
No.
And I've just lost a challenge. So maybe in their minds they're thinking, well, I don't need Harry for challenges anymore. So yeah, I had a little bit of a melt. But it was more, I was just in my head, I was just screaming like something's wrong. And so Paula did the right thing and tried to get me back in the game. But you actually saw the very next conversation I tried to have was I literally walked up to people and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll just go work on the food." And then they just like literally go to the food and then continue walking down the beach. I'm just like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
sick." And then Cam did frustrate me because after about I think it was after the very first time he tried to strat talk with me, and I turned it down because it was Jackson day one. After
Yeah.
that, he would just pretend not to know anything. Like every single time I tried to talk strategy, so he'd go around. I'd just watch him go from like one strat to the next strat, and then come to me and be like, "What's the plan?" I'm like,
Yeah.
you've just talked to like nine people in the last like 15 minutes and pretending like you know nothing." But yeah, it was just he was just on the far side of the tribe for me, even though like he was one of the people I was trying to actually really get in with. That was the ironic thing is we had the choice of do you go with Cam, Lottie, Asha, people that we kind of knew were against us but they had ideas and opinions. They
Yeah.
had an alliance. They wanted to do things. They weren't necessarily playing in the middle. They were pushing votes. Like, do you go with players or do you go with all these other people, scoop them up? But a lot of these other players, they just wanted to be in the middle. And it was like
Yeah.
four or five of them that were like, no, we just want to be in the middle. And you could push votes through them, but yeah, you're getting nothing in between votes. I just wasn't getting stuff from people. Like they
Yeah.
wouldn't give you opinions, positive or negative, really.
I think it's really hard because you've come from like season four. I rate that newbie cast. I feel like there's lots of gamers on that
Mm,
season, and then you've gone into All Stars, which is again like gamers. Like there's people
mm,
who know how to play. Then you come onto this cast, and there are some, but there is a lot in the middle, and it's really hard, I guess, to convince or persuade people to come your way. You talked about your relationship with Paul. That was a really strong one. Can you talk about
mm.
that natural connection? How you guys built that straight away?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I was sort of saying before, like I'm not the influencer. Like I can read plays, I can see problems coming,
Yeah.
but I'm not the guy to change it, which is like this unfortunate thing. Like I can see the train coming, but like I'm not the guy that's like untying the knots. Like I need
Yeah.
someone with me. So in previous seasons, I found that person. Day one, I thought it might be Lyndall. I
Yeah.
thought she might be that really strong influencer that's going to go around and be able to sort of push ideas and that sort of thing. Pretty quickly, just sort of worked out that she wasn't quite that. Paula was the person who had strong opinions, like was willing to chat through things. I really liked that. I liked someone that I could consider an equal and would tell me no, tell me if something's a bad idea, good idea,
Yeah.
have her own opinions and ideas. So I really, really liked that immediately. The WA thing is real. I mean, WA, we have a chip on our shoulder.
Yeah.
We're just people that, like, you'll just find people that are just like, yeah, East Coast, like, we're gonna get you. So it was just nice having
Yeah.
that, like having a person that kind of is on the same wavelength as you. I think we just clicked really quickly. And I kind of knew pretty much by day two that it was just going to be a thing that worked. Like strategically, it worked, and just friendship wise, it worked as well.
You talked to me a little bit about the returnee situation. Obviously, we've got Simon, who's someone out there. What is your connection with Simon, I guess, pre and then heading into this game? Because it seemed like you guys had that strat chat really like day night one on the
Yeah.
beach where you're talking about like you can run this game together. Obviously, he starts playing the next season after All Stars. You play 4-5, he plays six, and then
Mhm.
subsequently. What was that connection and relationship like?
Yeah. Well, we're friends.
Yeah,
So like, yeah, full transparency. I we messaged after his first season
yeah,
and had a little bit of a chat through stuff. Like through the years have been friends, like not to the point of, talking every single week, but we chat about stuff. We're
yeah,
similar guys, sort of like extroverted nerd sort of thing.
yeah. You are.
And so it was a weird situation with heroes versus villains as well. When I backed out of it, he was put on as a villain.
Yeah,
And so we just basically had this good relationship through the years that just kept going. And I didn't know he was going to be playing. He set up that whole, like, our online
equilibrium.
game, like
Yeah,
knowing things. And I was just like, oh, wow. Like, I mean, I was always going to play it because maybe some of the people there were playing and I could be friends with people. Um, but yeah, we've been friends through the years. And so when I realized that he was on it, it was really, really good. Like saw each other at the airport. I was like, great. And then we pretty much got to work straight away. It was a sort of case of I need to straight away before I forget, just say
no,
that
go.
he's the hardest working Survivor player I've ever seen. Like I've never seen anyone work harder. And to be honest with you, I was surprised it worked. It was just one of the things I was wrong about. I
Yeah.
was wrong about plenty of things, but he was just kissing people's asses, and I was just like, how is this working? Like how are people not like how are
Yeah,
people not clocking this? I think some people did clock it, but were
yeah,
happy for it anyway because they're like, well, Simon's the guy that will win us challenges. He's kissing my
yeah,
butt. He's making the fire. This is no issue. It's just not in me. Like I'm happy to be social, get to know people, like genuinely be friends with people and know people, but
yeah,
I don't have that level of effort that he was putting in where he was just kissing butt 24/7. And it was working for him. So
yeah,
kudos to him there. We also just wanted to basically split the tribe. Like I did not want people to be having extensive chats behind our back about voting us out, exactly when they were going to vote us out. Obviously, you can't 100% cut it down, but as much as we can get an idea on it. So the whole point was him getting half the tribe and me getting the other and basically having eyes. It really helped having Paula because she was actually getting in with some of those other people so I could cross-check
yeah,
things against Simon and Paula. But I mean, the thing was like Simon took his side with Cam and Usher and Lottie and that sort of thing, and I took my side with Jackson and Lyndall and Paula, and our side just imploded
yeah,
basically. It's just instantly not wanting to work with each other. It's that thing people talk about. They're like, "Oh, why don't you just scoop people up?" And it's like, well, some people don't like each other.
yeah,
And it's like you can get a random assortment of people that strategically should work together because it's in all of their benefit and they just don't because they're just not clicking. And that was kind of what my half of the tribe was. People just didn't gel, not to that degree where you're just like, yep, I'm going to save them.
Yeah. It's very valid. And I feel like that's one of the big things when, people watch this show. It's like, oh, X and Y should just get together and work together. But like, if they don't like each other, don't get on. It's a social game ultimately. Like you have to actually like the people who
Yeah.
you are with as well. And one of those people you mentioned, Jackson, he's a fascinating one for me because I feel like he didn't really come through in the edit. Like he is a wrestler. You have a pro wrestling like love and
Yeah.
background
I
as
knew who he
well.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. So did that come like was that discussions and stuff
Oh, it
and
was
chats that happened
huge.
out there? Yeah.
Yeah, it was big. So like day one, I told him, I was like, I know who you are. And obviously like I worked out pretty quick. He's, got that Sydney connection. So he knows Maddie. So he's
Yeah.
definitely at least heard of me.
Yeah.
So I was just like, we're not going to tell other people that we have this like, very big connection.
Yeah.
We're just going to try and do it. And then day one or day two, Cam was like, oh, we're going to try and do Jackson. I want to do a big move. And I was not keen on that. I was like, not ready to let go of someone who was like a good connection.
Yeah.
Um, and we basically pushed it away. I didn't think that was a good idea anyway. I didn't think it was a big move either, because to be honest,
No, neither.
Jackson wasn't really doing anything strategic for the first week.
Yeah.
Um, and so we did have a really good connection. Like wrestling is its own language and that sort of thing. And the Maddie thing did end up coming up. Like it was a big promo he cut on me in that tribal, like pulls out the flint, was talking about like getting revenge for Maddie and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And I guess it was just the sort of
Yeah.
thing that like if you're a casual and you're not watching all the seasons, this is going to completely fly over
Over
your
your
head. So I
head.
get why they don't include it. People would have seen that Rich had a little like justice for Maddie thing on his vote as well. But
Yeah.
basically, yeah, he was like, I'm getting revenge on Dirty Harry for like
Yeah.
voting out Maddie Wahlberg and all this stuff. Um, but yeah, end of the day, yeah, wrestling is a very tight-knit community in Australia, and it's its own language, and we understand each other. And I think the parallels really work with Survivor.
Agreed.
Um, so I think he was absorbing all that from me. He was absorbing Survivor information from like Eliza, super fans, and then from me, I was just trying to teach him. I was like, look, you can play this way, you can be a wrestler out here,
Yeah.
and you can make good TV. So hopefully, I've got no idea, but hopefully that comes through
Hopefully.
for him.
Yeah, no, same. I hope that does come through. And people who aren't aware, Maddie Wahlberg, who played with you in your first season, season
Yeah,
four, test thing.
2019, I idled him out. Yeah,
Yeah, and now he's in WWE as Grayson Waller, doing great things as well. Like he's killing it
yeah,
over there.
yeah.
But I
He's
agree.
doing fine.
Yeah, it's so fun. He's totally fun. But it's like, yeah, it's so interesting that little wrinkle and connection. And you have these wrinkles of connection throughout. And one we didn't see is the Brooke connection, obviously. Like you guys
Mhm.
are like I this is just my perception online, but you guys seem
Mm.
like you're fairly close.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like when you see her out in the cast, obviously it doesn't transpire, but is that's a positive thing for you seeing someone like Brookie out there?
Yeah. I knew she was going to be playing. We didn't pre-game or anything because, to be honest, I didn't see the point. I was like, there's
Yeah.
four returnees. Like, I kind of have to play with returnees. Like, I don't really need to talk about this. Um, so we didn't pre-game at all, but I knew she was going to be out there. It was a bit of a thing she was deciding on. Obviously, having a young child is a
Yeah.
big mental
It's
thing.
huge.
So more power to her. She's an amazing player. She's a person I consider really high on my list in terms of like playing, a lot of respect for her. So it was really disappointing to not be able to actually play together. But it was just good seeing her sort of go about her business. I'm gonna enjoy watching her back. I think on day 100, I tried to see if Dave would let her have the cake, and he's like, "No, you can't do
Yeah.
that." Because I was
Yeah.
like, "Can she just have my cake?" And now seeing back, like
Yeah.
obviously seeing what
There's
it
a reason
was,
why.
like I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is why I wasn't allowed to give her any cake. So I just shook her hand, and said, "Well done." People were so suspicious of me that when I just wanted to shake her hand and say, "Well done," they're like, "Harry's doing something." He's doing something. That's what it was like the whole time. It's like he's doing something. I was like, I just like this person and want to say well done.
Yeah. How many days did you finish on? Like, what's your total,
Not
you know?
enough, Ryan. Not
Yeah.
enough.
Someone in
Like
the chat, let us know when you know.
I think it's low 90s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not the 100. I really wanted the 100. That was like a big
Yeah.
thing. But it's not to be. You don't always get what you want.
No, I'm trying to think in my head. I think you were 49 the first go round,
Yep.
32 the second, and 11 the next. So what is that? 60,
Yeah.
82,
Like low
92,
90s.
92. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
something like that.
close. You're close, which is huge. And to be there, I do want to talk about this last step though, because I found it really
Hmm.
fascinating. I love this first step. I don't
Crazy.
know. I don't know if it's as good as the promos are saying best ever, but it's still like it's high up there. I think in terms of the
Yeah.
next step. And I do think that the show was really kind to you in the way they presented you as a player, and they
Hmm.
truly tried to build the moment. Can I take you back to that immunity challenge, the first one,
Hmm.
um, because watching it, I do have questions. I don't know if people have said this to you, but was that legit? Do you have any fear that part of your tribe might have been trying to throw the challenge
Oh
to
yeah, they
to?
definitely were. They
Okay,
definitely were scumming it up.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, good. Because I'm
Yeah.
watching this and I know it's not coming through. No one's owning it in the confessional, at least in the edited product. But to me, it looked like Aisha and a few others were,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
trying to throw the challenge.
I know there was definitely talk of it, and Asha has told me we've had some good chats post game,
Yeah,
once they were all finished. And we had some good chats, and she was like, "Yeah, I was mucking around with it." Like, I think there's one bit they included on there where we all yell at her because I think you were only allowed like two people up there at a time, and she was just kind of like just kind
yeah,
of hanging around. There was definitely some shenanigans going on. I think like a mild amount. What we didn't see is that I actually begged the other tribe to like throw it. I had this plan in my head of throwing reward and
yeah,
being like, here, like you get food in exchange for them throwing immunity. So it went straight to immunity, so I wasn't happy. And begged them anyway.
yeah,
I think Marcus said after that he didn't throw it, but he wasn't trying as hard
yeah,
in some bits. And then ours did throw it. So yeah, it was I was not happy. You can definitely see the melts going on,
yeah.
like me raging out a bit. Yeah.
And then you obviously they have the twist. Loz goes. We open up the like. What's with you and pegs? I feel like they just like are obsessed with you with these freaking
I
pegs.
know,
Like
I
honestly,
know. They're like, well, it's about that time, isn't it? Like Harry's in trouble. Get the
let's
pegs.
get the pegs.
Um,
Um,
yeah, I
and
saw
yeah,
that. Yeah, I was not happy. I was so cranky because I'd stayed up the whole night. Like I hadn't slept at all because I was looking for idols for like 5 hours at night.
yeah,
Then you like wake up, can't do the challenge throw because we're going straight to immunity. Um, had some shenanigans that I was like kind of suspicious on, but was probably too tired to really pay
yeah,
attention. And then you go straight to the pegs, and then I thought I was a chance. I
yeah.
really thought I was a chance.
You were a chance.
Because I couldn't see Lyndall. I was just concentrating on me. I was concentrating so hard, and I couldn't see how like rock solid she was.
Yeah,
Um, the weird thing was that that was actually the second round
I have heard
that we
this.
played. You've heard
I,
this already.
I may have heard that Rich may have done well the first time. This is
Yeah,
the
and
second
it's
round.
it's
Mm,
oh, it's so funny as well. They did tell us beforehand. So it's all fair.
yeah,
It's just one of those things that kind of stacked up my story. They did tell us they're like, if you don't go long enough, doesn't count because everyone was just falling off.
yeah.
And so Rich did actually win, and they're like, nah, like doesn't count.
That's just not count.
And
That's nothing.
so and so when he loses that second time, you can see that raw emotion. And
He's
I
so
felt
annoyed.
bad for him because
Yeah,
like I'm a big fan and like you deserve that. If you win, you deserve it.
yeah,
And so you can see him have his own little like melting moment,
yeah,
just throwing that thing because he did deserve it. So I felt bad. And then yeah, thought it was a chance. Couldn't see Linda, was just concentrating on me. And then I could just feel like destiny pulling me back.
yeah,
Just like weight falling back. Lost it, came second, and I was like, this is real bad because every single one of my targets was just out. I was just like, this
yeah.
is
And yeah, you come up with the idea around the Flynn as well, and it plays out the way it plays out.
Mm.
What do you how are you processing that? Like I like game respects game. I appreciate what Jackson did in the
Yeah,
moment. Like I appreciate
it
what
was
you
the
did
right
as
call.
well. Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, so it was the sort of thing where, yeah, you just respect it really. Like, and I think the thing that I've actually thanked him for is he was starting to get the wrestling Survivor thing, and
yeah,
he waited a really long time. We got through this big tribal. We were like taunting the others. We're doing all this like amazing stuff, and I love that stuff. Like
yeah,
just being able to just be like, I think they included it where I'm just like I'm not effing around, Lottie. Like I will go with it. Just like blatantly threatening people. So funny. Just to be able to get that, see the terror on people's faces, and then at the end, then he's like, "All right, like cut the promo, pull the thing out." It was so cinematic.
yeah,
It was the right call. Like overall, really, really happy. Like it was just the most insane day to just go through every single up and down, and just
yeah,
this every single time, just a dollar short, dollar short, dollar short. And then to have such a cinematic finish, it's pretty much all you can ask for, really. Like,
yeah.
and
Great.
I went 50-50 on it. The whole Flint thing, I would have played it straight if Lyndall and Loz were there as
Yeah,
options. I had no idea Lyndall had the idol. Like, I was suspicious. I'd thrown around some suspicions and ideas of who I thought might have it. But like I didn't know for sure. And so I
yeah,
probably would have played it straight if either of them were there. But as soon as they weren't, I was like, nah, we're just gonna we're just gonna do this because I was like, there is a solid chance they just vote me out anyway.
yeah.
Literally, no one came to me and said I wasn't. Like, I think they showed that I would have been fine, but no one came and told me that. Like, even Simon didn't come and tell me that. So I wonder how true that is.
Yeah, I,
Um,
I agree. I think at best you're 50-50. Like in the episode 6, the next episode, you see like Asha talking about, she was getting Lottie was in her mind and convincing her to keep you. But even then it's still 50-50. You don't know how
yeah,
it's
they
gonna
were
go.
really,
And
yeah,
you owned it. And you held it. You held who Harry is as a person and you can't ask for anything more. Like you played who you are
yeah.
as a person out there. You get voted out. You throw the toothpick into the fire,
Mm.
retiring Dirty Harry.
Yeah, I think we're retired. I think we're done. I'll put a caveat out there. If you want to invite me to any kind of international
Yeah,
season, down for it. Would love to play with people I'm friends with, people that I consider heroes and other big players. Down for that. I think I'm retired otherwise.
yeah. No, I agree. I think you are primed for a season like that where it's big players, big gameplay. The Australia versus World was such a cool concept, and I hope it comes back at some point in the future. Like you would be ideal for that, knowing that you're a huge fan of the show, just broadly,
Mm,
and know the people as well. I always wrap these chats just by talking about gratitude, Harry.
mm.
So for you, what are you grateful for from this survivor journey? Not only, I guess, this past year that you've been on, but for the last 6 years that you've been going through.
Um, Look, it's gonna be lame. I'm gonna say friends.
No, be lame.
Because it's like I mean, if I can make someone cry by leaving, then I think that's a pretty big
Yeah,
indicator. Like you have these friendships and they're really sad to see you go. So I'm grateful for that. Like I've made a lot of friends. There's people I message, people who message me when I got voted out, saying like how much they've enjoyed watching. Internationals messaging and that sort of stuff.
yeah,
So just to be able to like talk to people, say that I've sat down and had drinks and talked game with like a lot of big players after and been invited to their houses and parties and all that sort of thing. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm grateful for that. Like the friendships that have been built up in this are really real and really special.
Yeah, I love that. Look, I'll take my podcast hat off and just put Ryan's hat on as a person. But as a fan of the show, like, thank you for playing like you have
Mm,
for 3 seasons. Because as a fan of the show, when Australian Survivor came back, this is the type of stuff that like I dreamed of watching people play less. Like I wanted people to
mm,
play big and to be fun and like enjoy Survivor. Survivor's meant to be enjoyable. It's a fun game, and
mm.
thank you for holding that joy and for playing such a cool way. And yeah, thank you for going out there again and playing hard. And I hope personally it's not the retirement of Dirty Harry. Hopefully we see him come back at some point in the future. But congrats on getting to play, playing authentically as
Mm.
yourself. And I super appreciate it, man. Like genuinely.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate you saying that. It does mean a lot. And I think, yeah, if I can leave any lasting legacy, it's, yeah, like people should just play how they want to. Like, you don't have to um, listen to anyone else in terms of like playing a very exact way, being like ungenuine. Just be genuine and
Yeah.
enjoy yourself out there if you get the chance to play.